Hello, everyone. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It would really help the channel out quite a bit. Thank you very much.
The Slide, a science fiction serial in 7 parts by Victor Pemberton, with Maurice Denham and Roger Delgado. The Slide, Episode 7, Out of the Darkness. The lost people of Redlow Newtown are found hiding in the darkness of the sewer tunnels beneath the deserted streets. In the main square above, Inspector Baxter waits anxiously for Dr. Richards and Professor Lippert.
Any sign of them?
No, sir, not yet.
Just the two of them, you said. Lippert and the doctor. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I've been listening for the last 2 hours. I haven't heard a thing. Sounds dead down there. Trouble is these sewers stretch for miles.
Okay, Sarge. We'll give them another 10 minutes or so. Then we better go and get some kip. They
Yeah.
want to risk their own necks, let them. We've had enough wondering about those tunnels down there. Anyway, it'll be sun up in a few minutes.
I wish he'd pack that up. Sounds like a funeral dirge.
We all have our own way of showing feeling, Sarge. The vicar's been in that church for 15 years. I reckon he's got the right to ring his bell if he wants.
Not feeling it's going to save this town, not now. Look at the place. Never think it was Tuesday morning, would you? Market day. More like a battlefield.
They'll build again.
If they get the chance.
Well, they got to. They just have. Anyway, I'd sooner listen to his bell than hang on here in the silence. I think it's that scares me more than anything else. Silence. I'd give anything to hear the birds singing away in those trees again.
Inspector! They're here!
Oh, quick! Give him the hat.
Come on, now. Lift this. That's right. Come on.
All right, I got you.
That's it.
Hold on now.
Right, that's it.
All right, doctor.
Give me your hand. I'll pull you up.
Thank you.
Come on now. That's it. There we go. Fresh air. Oh, thank
Hey, you've been down there for hours. We were just about to give you up.
It takes us all our time to find a way out. By tonight, those tunnels are going to be choked with mud.
What about Miss Marshall, Doc? Any signs?
Yes. She's down there.
What? Was there no way to get her
Well,
out?
she was cut off from us. We couldn't take the
I
risk.
could have reached her.
Oh, you try to get any of those poor devils down there. The mud will get you just like
So
them.
we just leave them all down there. Old and young alike, to rot away until that stuff's ready for them. Is your conscience big enough to take that responsibility, Professor? Because mine isn't.
Ken, we have no alternative. The only way we can help them now is to find some way to break through this influence or whatever it is that the mud has over them.
You say them. Have you any idea how many?
Impossible to tell. 30, 40 maybe, even more. The sewers are crawling with them. They crouch in corners, hiding from us, guarded by their jailer, lost, dazed. And, I felt so helpless, knowing they were there and not being able to do a thing for them.
Well, I tell you this much, Professor. Somebody's got to, that's for sure. We've done all we can.
Robert? Robert, wake up.
I'm sorry, old boy. Must have dropped off for a few minutes.
An hour and a half to be exact. It's 7:30.
Oh, is it really? Oh, well, when you get to my age, you need your rest. Any luck yet?
No, the mud sample in the tank's been on the move most of the night. The only interesting thing that seems to have happened is the rock salt particles have disappeared from the side of the tank, you see?
Yes. Look at the wretched stuff. It's much bigger than it was last night.
Or at least 3 or 4 times, I'd say. You know, we'll have to get rid of it soon. It's too dangerous to keep in here for much longer.
You know, that bubbling really is like volcanic lava, isn't it? Reminds me of some of those eruptions I saw in New Zealand.
Would you like to blow out the lamp, Robert?
Certainly.
I'll raise the blinds. You know, we could do with some fresh air in here.
I know. This light's a strain on the eyes.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. There's hardly a cloud in the sky. You know, if someone had told me they had such sunlit days in England, I would never have believed them. Better?
Much better.
And let's hope the heavens are with us today. If they could just send us some wind, a little breeze. Everything is so still, so lifeless, so unreal. We could be a boat in the middle of an ocean.
Joseph, quick!
What is it?
Look at the mud sample. Look!
Let me...
Robert! Absolutely incredible. I was watching it. I watched it transform in front of my very eyes.
But it's solid again. Completely solid. Of course, Robert.
Of course!
Inspector! Inspector Baxter.
Mrs. Deverell, what are you doing here? The town's out of bounds to all civilian personnel.
Inspector, you've got to find my husband.
Mrs. Deverell, take a look around you, will you, please? There are 1,500 blokes trying to clear this stuff from the streets.
I'm warning you. He may be dangerous.
Dangerous?
In his present condition, he's capable of doing anything.
Who is it?
Inspector, he tried to kill me.
He what?
He doesn't know what he's doing. Don't you see, we can't hold him responsible for his actions. We've got to try and reach him before he does anything dangerous.
When did this happen, please?
Last night, just before 11. Then he ran out of the house.
You've no idea where he was heading.
None at all, but he took his car. He was no killer. He'd never want to harm me. There's something inside him that's pushing him to the borders of insanity, some evil force that's taken him over completely. Inspector, I beg you to get him back before it's too late.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You have to turn round. The road's blocked from now on.
Get that thing out of my way. I'm going into Redlow.
I'm very sorry, sir. The town's out of bounds to all civilian personnel until further notice. If you want permission to...
Oh, what's the matter with you? What are you looking at?
Your face, sir. You all right?
I am perfectly all right now. Will you get out of my way?
Well, it's scratched, sir. You're bleeding. Let me get you to a doctor.
I don't need a doctor. I don't need anyone. I've got to get into that town, and I've got to get in quickly. They need me. Don't you understand that? They need me.
Turn your car round, please, sir.
Damn it, man. Don't you know who I am?
No, sir, I do not. My orders is that no one passes this barrier without permission from my commanding officer. It's not my business to know who you are, sir, so you'll be saving yourself a lot of time and trouble if you just turn right round and go back where you come from. And if you take my tip, sir, you see a doctor as soon as you can, and them scratches look as though they need it. Hey, what the heck are you doing?
Now, are you going to get out of my way?
Put that gun down. Are you mad?
The sun, my friends, the sun! Don't you see the answer has been up there in the sky all the time? At last we know the real enemy of the mud.
So what you're saying, Professor, is that during daylight, the mud is forming some sort of hard crust to protect itself from the heat of the sun?
No, Miss Griffiths, not the heat. That's where we've been following the wrong course. The reason our own generated heat test failed. Here, let me show you what I mean on the blackboard. The light. The rays of the sun itself.
Oh, yes, but what does it all mean?
It means that somewhere in the solar system there's a filament of light capable of penetrating the mud's pores.
Yes, but only when those pores are opened, when they are breathing.
And that's during the night.
Precisely. That's the only time it is safe to shed its protective crust. Now, all through the night, this laboratory has been in darkness, except for one small oil lamp. We watched the organic movement in this small mud sample multiply beyond recognition. But immediately I came over to this window and raised the blinds, that organic life came to a halt in front of our very eyes. The sun, we should have realized before.
So what you're suggesting, Joseph, is it some kind of battle between the mud and the sun?
Yes.
But why?
Well, throughout the history of mankind, there have always been people who prayed to the sun as a kind of god, the creator of heaven and earth. You only have to look at something like the Inca civilization, the worship of the sun god. The sun is the creator.
But I don't see what this has got to do with the mud.
Look, if we are to believe that the mud is a living thing, capable of generating its own influence on human life, then we must also believe that if the mud is to claim the earth for itself, it must first destroy everything on the earth created by the sun. Nature, my friends, has turned this into a psychological warfare.
Dr. Richards, you've had a chance to see those people hiding down the sewers. What do you think the effects are likely to be?
I don't think there's any doubt. The mud intends to absorb the human mind, take it into its confidence by means of hypnotic transference, and then eliminate it, I suppose.
Do you mean to tell me that out of all the scientific knowledge man has acquired, he can't come up with anything to prevent this extermination?
There is something, but it may not work.
Oh, for heaven's sake, ma'am, we've got to try. What is it?
The mud is like a giant octopus. Its head, the nerve center, is somewhere beneath the surface of the earth. We must find a way to burn through the tentacles, the thousands of little brain cells that are causing this multiplication.
Yes, but how?
Strike at a time when it is unable to protect itself, when the pores are wide open.
During the night.
As soon as the sun sets.
Yes, but what do we strike with? We can't build a sun in the middle of the night.
We don't have to build a sun, Robert. Look at the diagram on the board again. Now tell me, which of the spectrums in the solar system would you say is the most likely to penetrate into the mud's pores?
Couldn't be ultraviolet, especially if there were any cloud around. Anyway, it's not nearly deep enough.
What about infrared?
Yes, Doctor?
Well, that's about the deepest ray there is. Now, if you could harness enough...
Yes, but how?
Well, there's a pretty strong infrared filament in xenon discharge lamps. They use them in most photographic or film studios. If you could get your hands on some of those...
Oh, you need hundreds of the things to cover the entire town.
No. We could take it in sections. If the first experiment works, we can repeat it. Miss Griffiths, what can you do for us?
How many would you need, these lamps?
Well, to start with, I should say 20. We could line the edge of Holly Mill Lane, but they must be installed by sunset this evening.
Don't worry. You'll have them.
I warn you, they're pretty powerful, these lamps. I should think they'll light up the whole sky.
Yes, as long as that is all they do, Doctor, I shan't worry.
What do you mean?
I don't have to remind you what happened the last time we used generated heat. Even the most minute particle of mud expanded beyond all proportions. If this should happen again, the dangers would be greater than we dare imagine.
You mean the whole thing may multiply?
Quicker than ever before. There isn't just one. There are thousands of living organisms lying out there in that mud. This experiment may only succeed in increasing them.
Increasing them? But you're a scientist. Don't you know?
Miss Griffiths, I am afraid I do not. Unfortunately, there are times when even a scientist just does not know.
How is he?
Not so good. Anyway, we've got a description.
Deverell.
Yes, it's him all right. His car smashed through that barrier like a bulldozer. I reckon you were right after all. He's trying to make it to those sewers.
It's all right now, Corporal, old son. You just lie still. You're going to be all right.
Have to get him before he gets there. He's going to them.
Who's he going to, son? Who?
He's going to them.
Try and remember who it was.
Better get him to hospital. He's lost quite a lot of blood.
What was it he said about Deverell's face?
Scratch marks all over. And there were some dead birds and things on the back seat of his car.
We'll put out a general alarm to pick up Deverell, dead or alive.
Dead or... Inspector, we can't do that. We don't have the authority to shoot to kill. You know that.
Dead or alive, Sergeant, and that's an order.
Murder. It's cold-blooded murder to fire at innocent people like that.
They are not firing at them. They're firing above their heads to keep them away from those sewers. Once they got down there, we'd never see them again.
But they're wandering around like lost souls. Can't somebody do something? Get them out.
The only thing we can do is to keep them away from the mud. In their present state of hypnotic influence, if we try to touch one of them, there's no knowing what the shock might do. We dare not take the risk.
It's all like a bad dream.
You know, you're not helping yourself or anyone by staying here, Mrs. Deverell.
They'll do that to him, won't they? Shoot him down.
That's nonsense, and you know it. Nobody's going to shoot your husband. It's our help he needs.
Oh, it's all right. It won't make any difference to me. In fact, after seeing the way he was last night, maybe it would be a good thing.
I don't believe you.
Don't you?
I don't believe you really hate him as much as you pretend. You can't shut him out of your life as easily as that. You can't shut out the world.
I don't need you to tell me that, Professor. But for one moment, early this morning, I thought I had. I was up there on the hill overlooking the town. Oh, I know everything seemed to look exactly the same, even though I knew it wasn't. But there was a moment, one brief moment, when the world became a blur. It didn't exist anymore. People, places, things. And I was happy, very happy, alone in a vast wilderness. But soon I focused again and found it quite a shock to see I wasn't alone after all. The world was still there, but I wish it wasn't.
Joseph! The RAF are sending in 3 lorries from Maidstone. They're coming through now.
With the equipment? Enough lamps to cover the whole of Hollymill Lane.
The electricians say they must have at least 45 minutes to synchronize the entire circuit from Maidstone.
Now, what time is it now? Exactly 5:30. The sun goes down at 6:38.
Can we make it?
68 minutes. Gentlemen, those lamps go on at sunset, or the battle is lost.
What's up, soldier?
Noises.
What sort of noises?
Down there, the sewers. I don't know what those dinks are up to, but it's peculiar, like they're shuffling about or something. Whispering.
Whispering?
Yeah, give me a funny feeling, sort of unsettled. I had to put the lid back on.
Teach you to be nosy?
Well, it's not my idea of fun, Sarge. I can tell you, sitting here alone in a back street, God in a hole in the middle of the road, waiting for something to happen.
Nothing's going to happen, at least not for another quarter of an hour or so. Once they get those lights on, then you could look for a few sparks. What?
There he is again.
What?
Quick! Give me a hand with the lid! Now, listen. For heaven's sake, get someone! Please!
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Countdown for this operation will begin in 5 minutes from now. 5 minutes. May I remind you the lamps on either side of the lane are of extreme high density. You should protect your eyes from the glare and keep well back from the experimental area. We rely on your cooperation. Thank you.
Dr. Richards, is it true what they're saying?
Mrs. Deverell, what's the matter?
Are these lights going to kill the people down in the sewers?
Mrs. Deverell.
Tell me, I want to know.
I don't know. I only wish I did.
But how, in heaven's name, how?
Well, Gomez seems to think that if the light does penetrate the mud's brain cells, it might do the same to the human mind. It's a chance we've got to take.
And you mean to tell me that you, a doctor, are going to let them do it? Let them kill off all those defenseless people?
We have no alternative, Mrs. Deverell. And anyway, we don't know this is going to happen, not until the actual moment the lamps are turned on. Look, my own fiancée, Janet, is down there. Do you think I wouldn't put a stop to this if I thought anything would happen?
They say his face was scratched from top to bottom. Why, Doctor, why?
What's happened to your husband, Mrs. Deverell, is a tragic breakdown of resistance. Oh, he's a strong-willed man. But that's why one side of his brain is in direct conflict with the other. Like the meeting of two parts of a schizophrenic. One hand refuses to do what the other one wants it to. And unless we can stop it, the part of his mind controlled by the mud intends to destroy the other part. He's down there, somewhere, I know it. And all those other people who didn't ask for this. But if we want them back again, Mrs. Deverell, we have to kill that mud. You know that.
3 minutes to count down. Stand well back, please. Only 3 minutes to count down. Stand well back, please.
What's happening, sir?
Can't see a thing. So dark down there.
I've got some matches.
No. If they see a light, they'll probably scarper. Can't take any chances now. How long's this been going on?
About half an hour, you said. Hello?
What?
He's gone.
Well, who's gone?
That soldier. He was here on guard duty. I hope he's not... I come to think of it, he was acting a bit funny himself.
Any minute now, that sky's going to be lit up like a bomb. What the hell they know what they're doing?
Reminds you of the Blitz, don't it?
Shh. What is it? There's somebody there. Quick, lie on his stomach and don't say a word.
They're coming out. Look at them. The whole lot, Inspector. We've got to do something. We've got to get hold of them.
Stay where you are. Once they're out for good. Something's making them move out of there.
But their faces. Look at their faces. Where are they going, Inspector? Where are they going?
Joseph, There are small cracks appearing in the surface of the road in the main square. The engineers have just told me.
So we were right, eh? The middle of the circle. All 5 sides are going to meet.
But what does that mean?
It means, Miss Griffiths, that if we miss our chance tonight, all 5 banks of mud are going to become one.
By morning, the whole town will be swamped. It'll give way like matchwood.
But will we have time to stop the other overflows?
Once we know the infrared can reach the nerve center of its brain, the growth will stop.
But if it continues to move, even with the flood of light on it, then look out.
Joseph!
Mrs. Deil.
Joseph, please, you've got to stop those lights. You've got to.
Anna, what are you
If he turns them on, every one of those people down in the sewers are going to die.
Mrs. Deverell, you are hysterical. Please get out of the way.
If you kill the mud, you kill all those poor people with it.
Professor, is this true?
Of course it's true. Go on, tell them. Tell them what a murderer you are.
Professor Gomez, I didn't know about this. Perhaps we better postpone the whole thing.
You're too late. Look, the sun's almost gone.
And now, all faces, all thoughts are one, as we turn our eyes towards that great ball of fire slipping majestically behind the hillside above us. The moment is near. Figures turn to silhouettes as the deep red glow becomes twilight. The sun is gone, and now, the silence. Wait a minute. Something's happening out there. Yes, to the right of your picture, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has run out. He's in the middle of the mud overflow.
That damn fool devil, what's he doing out there? Deverell, the mud is going to change any moment. Get out of there.
Don't come near me. Don't touch me. You won't be able to hurt me anymore. None of you.
Mad. The poor devil's gone completely mad. Look at his face.
Somebody get him out of there.
Keep away from the mud. There's nothing we can do.
40 seconds.
Don't let them down those lights, Joseph.
Deverell, now listen to me. You are in great danger. The mud wants to kill you.
No longer do we have to look to the sun. At last, we are being given the chance to destroy the evil created by man. A chance to destroy the evil that is in us, in you and me, and all of us who have allowed this corruption.
Deverell, you've got to believe me. The mud is evil. The only thing it wants is your destruction.
Somebody do something. We can't leave him out there to die.
Can't go out there. It's too dangerous.
The mud's not moving yet. Perhaps it's not going to.
We can't take the chance. If we don't get those lamps on the moment the mud pours open, they'll close up immediately like an oyster.
20 seconds.
Maggie, don't let them do it. Please don't let
There's
them do
nothing we can do.
What's he doing now? He's turned to the crowd.
Man was never given the earth. He took it for himself. He used the sun to help him create his own lust for power, his greed, his evil. But now we are free to think for ourselves. We can destroy this evil right here and now. You and me.
No, Deverell,
Follow
no.
me. Follow me off this path of corruption.
Look at the crowd. The people from the sewers. Keep them back. They're trying to reach him.
The mud! Keep those people away! The mud's beginning to move!
Keep back. Keep back.
3, 2, 1.
Back. My eyes! Take the light off my eyes! I can't see!
No, Mrs. Deverell. There's nothing you can do.
Let me go. Please let me go.
The mud's giving way. He's going to be pulled under. Please, somebody do something. Somebody do something.
Anna!
Don't look, my dear. Don't look. Take her with you.
The mud! It's spreading! Get back there, will you? Get back now, please.
Joseph, it's no good. Look, the lights are making no difference. The mud's swelling up more than ever.
Get them out of here.
Get them. What are you talking?
I said get them out. All of them. You want them to be killed? Can't you see the organisms are increasing?
Joseph, the mud's already over the marker line. Do we move back the lamps?
No.
But they might explode.
Keep them where they are. We'll keep the power running as long as we can. Get a party of men down here. For the time being, we can divert the flow.
It's happening, isn't it? The light's really is multiplying the mud's organisms.
Unless we can block the flow, there's no doubt that within 2 or 3 hours they're going to meet right in the center of the town.
And for heaven's sake, why doesn't somebody turn off those lamps?
No! Joseph, look! Something's happening! What's that red glow at the other end? Don't you see? It's burning. The whole lot's catching fire all the way along. Look at the marker line. The mud's shriveling out.
Oh, it's horrible.
Horrible. It's not horrible. It's not horrible, Miss Griffith. It's wonderful. The most wonderful thing I've ever seen.
Well, thank heavens we got those poor people from the sewers in time. If those people in the crowd hadn't stopped them, we were lucky, that's all.
Oh, do you think so, sir?
What do you mean, Inspector?
Well, I was just looking round, that's all. Somehow I don't feel very lucky. It's funny, isn't it? When you think what difference a few days can make to your life. Oh, I've no doubt once they got rid of the rest of the mud, they'll soon put this town together again. But I'll never feel the same when I walk through those streets again. I must say I'm looking forward to hearing those birds sing again.
Yes, and I intend to be a sun worshipper for the rest of my life.
Well, Doctor, how's Miss Marshall?
I sent her back to hospital. If she stays there this time, I think she'll pull through.
I was terrified when I saw her trying to reach the mud. She was fighting like a maniac to get there.
Yes. You see, when the infrared finally penetrated the mud's nerve center, this immediately snapped the hypnotic influence over the human brain. The sudden release of energy on these people must have been tremendous.
And Deverell?
I'm afraid not. We were too late. Is all this ever going to happen again, Professor?
Well, if you mean are we likely to have another earthquake, young man, I suggest you ask Mother Nature. She always seems to have a little something tucked up her sleeve. Oh, I have no doubt. We shall go on dropping our bombs and fighting each other. But when Nature's tired of all this, I can assure you she knows exactly when to show her disapproval.
You are going home, Mrs. Deverell?
Home? What home?
I had hoped it would never be like this. I would have done anything to prevent
That
it.
last moment, when he stumbled and fell. He looked so lost, so old, unreal. There was a moment when I thought he recognized me. I remember Hugh, when he had a warm sense of humor, he could laugh louder than anyone. I never wanted him to die.
There was so much I wanted to say.
We have nothing to say, Joseph. Not now. Not anymore. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Anna.
But Joseph, they've moved the lamps over the other side of the town. They'll have most of it clear by morning. Well, don't look so gloomy. We've won a battle, you know.
Have we?
Well, haven't we?
I wonder. Maybe it's just the beginning.
Oh, come off it, old boy. I've had quite enough for 1 week, thanks all the same. We have stopped the mud, haven't we?
Oh, the mud. Yes, I think so.
Well, then.
Robert, my friend, we have won a battle, yes. We have managed this time to face something that man has always feared, the unknown. But for how long, I wonder? You remember what Deverell said about man's insatiable lust for domination? Maybe he was right. Maybe one day either we or nature are going to unleash something that we know nothing about. Whether it is in the seas, in the atmosphere, or in the bowels of the earth. And the next time, what will we do? What will we do the next time?
That was the 7th and final episode of The Slide by Victor Pemberton, with Maurice Denham as Hugh Deverell, MP, and Roger Delgado as Joseph Gomez. The part of Professor Landers was played by Rolf Lefevre, Dr. Ken Richards by David Spencer, Anna Deverell by Marion Mathey, and Professor Lippert by Alan McClelland. Inspector Baxter, Geoffrey Matthews, Sergeant Johnson, Wilfred Babbage, RAF Corporal, Anthony Hall, Margaret Griffiths, MP, Joan Matheson, TV interviewer, Henry Stamper. Other parts were played by members of the BBC Drama Repertory Company. Special sound was by the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and the recorded production was by John Tiedemann.